and sister, but they had the remains of what she had left behind. Isn't that funny when, or not funny, but it's kind of interesting when someone passes and goes home to be with the Lord. Suddenly things that they've done, things that they've given you become what? They're precious, right? And in her case, what she did, remember the woman that came with the alabaster box to Jesus? What did he say about her? He said, this is right at the end of his 3-year ministry, just before he goes to the cross. They're all despising it. Wow, what a waste. It's going to be given to the poor, Jesus looks not at the dollar value of the item, but at the heart behind it. And really, he knows that she has done this what? Unto the Lord. She's poured it on my body. And he says, wherever the gospel is preached, what she's done will be a memorial, right? You know what we do, just not unto the Lord, but just, is oftentimes forgotten. But what we do, whether it's a cup of cold water, whether it's in Dorcas's case, like sewing or whatever, we're all different, right? I can't sew a thing to save my life, right? But what I do, even just the smallest thing, my motivation is just like, Lord, this is worship. And it becomes memorialized. It becomes eternal. How many of the things that people do in 10 years' time, it doesn't even matter, right? But God says, even the tiniest little step of faith, even the tiniest little thing, when what's behind it is a heart of unto the Lord, he's like, I'm never gonna forget about that. Right? Where's that alabaster box today? I don't know, broken somewhere, whatever. But God says, that's a memorial. That's eternal. I will never forget about it. All right? The Pharisees were throwing in their 50s and 100s and whatever into the offering unto men, right? Wanting people to see what they were giving, right? This woman just kind of cast in a little copper coin. Jesus noticed it. Why? Not the value, but he noticed. What was she doing it? Unto the Lord. This is like unto the Lord. And it's absolutely precious. I was thinking of Joseph, who was taken Genesis 39 from his family and went into Egypt. And here you have a man who really is serving as unto the Lord. Unto the Lord. And Potiphar gets him. He's like an employee. He's actually a slave. He's got no rights. And I can imagine in that situation, because of the injustice of it and being resentful, I'm going to give him just like my basic required, lowest default service. Go home. Go to bed. So that I don't get beaten, right? It says that the Lord was with Joseph, Genesis 39, and everything he did prospered. This is so interesting. Why is the Lord with Joseph? Prospering what Joseph does. I thought he's serving a non-believer, an Egyptian. Why is God blessing Potiphar's house? And he's with him. And does it say everything he did prosper? What does that mean? It means that Joseph's got Potiphar's budget, and his farm, and his businesses, and God is showing is honoring it because it's all what? Unto the Lord. Joseph's I'm serving you, Potiphar, but actually I'm really serving God. All right? My identity is not a servant of Potiphar, even though I'm serving Potiphar. Potiphar is gaining the benefit. He's the beneficiary of really, I'm a servant of God. All right? And I was thinking of Christ when just before he goes to the cross, John chapter 13. And I like this verse. It says, he, knowing three things, knowing that God had given him all things, and knowing that he had come from God, and knowing that he was going to God, it says he loved them to the extreme. It says he takes a towel and starts to serve them. Right? Is he serving them? Yes. Is he a servant of man? No. Is he doing it for them? Yes. But ultimately, he's doing it unto the Lord. Right? And this is precious. When you're doing something unto the Lord, they start to realize, like, he's loving me, but he's really loving God as he loves me. He's serving me, but he's actually serving God as he serves me. In one sense, at the cross in John 19, as he says, Father, forgive them, he's actually forgiving them unto his Father, if you know what I mean. All right? This is really, really precious. But I want to close just with this simple thought. When the Egyptians, midwives, in Exodus 1, verse 17, when Pharaoh gave the horrific, genocidal, Jew-hating command to kill the Hebrew children, the males, it says that they feared the Lord. And that word feared is not really correct. It says they honored and respected the Lord. And it really means three things over here. It means as they were doing their job, they were doing it as unto the Lord. They were receiving power from God and God's love. Then they were being led by Him. And then finally, they were fellowshipping with God. And, you know, I'm a husband and a wife, and maybe in that situation early on with the drunk husband, she could say, I don't know how to have this marriage relationship with this guy who's not being who he should be. And God would say, honor me, respect me, do it as unto me. I want you to receive power from me, receive love from me. Jude verse 20, keep yourself in the love of God. Sometimes in relationships they can get nasty, and people can, because they're hurt, they can lash out and try to hurt others. And in those situations, it's very, very crucial that you receive God's love and you receive His strength. I can just imagine these midwives. I'm in a situation, I've got a boss, and he's telling me to do this horrific thing, but if I disobey him, I could not just lose my life, but I can lose my job. And God would say to these precious midwives, receive, 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 receive. One of the greatest objectives as we begin a church in this city is not getting people firstly performing or doing things or changing or anything, but receive, receive, receive. Brother Lawrence, you're in this monastery and you don't even know what's going on. Receive, 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 receive. The word in Africa we used to use is landila, pokelela, right? Receive. And this is so important in a job situation, receiving capacity from God as a student, as a young person, receiving capacity. I don't know what to do. Stop. Don't do anything first. Receive. Receive His love. Jesus said to Peter, unless you let me first wash your feet, you have no part in me. Receive. This is how the Christian life begins. John chapter 1, verse 12. It's not deciding that you're going to stop doing this or change it. It's receiving. To those that what? Received Him. I cannot do anything as unto God until I receive a ministry of God's love to me first. That's primary. The second thing is, let him lead you. All right? Let him lead you. These women are like, what do I do? Pharaoh's given this command, receive his love, receive his strength. Relationships can get crazy. Receive his love, receive his strength, and then be led by God. So many people are led by circumstances. They're led by the advice of others. They're led by what everyone expects me to do, like as if I'm some kind of a robot. But God sets you free. And he comes here, maybe to an employee who's in a horrible situation. Receive my love. Joseph, you're in a terrible slave situation. You've got no liberty. Receive my love. Now be led by me. And that's really key. I'm your leader. Potiphar is not your leader. I'm your leader. When Pharaoh gives you a bad command, you may have to say no to him. You may be his best worker because you're receiving my strength, you're receiving my love. But after you've received, now be led. This is all in the word. They feared God. It's a very powerful word, yada. And it means you receive and now you move. You move. All right? You start to be led by God. Some people, Christians, they receive, but they're kind of incapacitated. They got no clue about getting direction from God to be able to move. All right? Let him lead them. All right? What did Jesus say to his disciples? Come and what? Follow me. All right? I got a direction for your life. June of 1995. I'm a young guy. And I'm in South Africa. And I suddenly, God shows me from this passage with his disciples that God has a direction for your life. And Jesus said, follow me. And they could just kind of like, stand. A lot of Christians are very passive. They don't realize. Someone said to me yesterday in Bryan, he's not saved. He said, well, I just kind of live my life, and I don't know, maybe one day when I die I'll get to heaven. Like, no, God's extending you to eternal life. Eternal life. You got to receive it. It's a decision. He doesn't force you. And in not saying yes, you're saying no.